I moved to Australia when I was 8 years old. We moved back when I was 15 for the start of high school. Um, Going to Australia was a completely different change. We went to an all-boys private school. We had to wear uniforms to school. We had to play cricket, basketball in the spring, and then soccer in the winter season. Soccer there was a lot different than in the United States. It was very much a European style of play rather than the American style. So I definitely learned from that, and that's kind of how I play now. It had a massive impact on my development and how I kind of think and play the game now. The major difference was going from town soccer, just kind of playing with your friends. It was very much kind of show up and play and kind of see what happens, versus when I moved there were club teams going kind of year round, and then you also had school soccer on top of that, depending on the season you were in. So it was very much kind of a professional atmosphere from the jump. The main goal there for all players was to go professional, as opposed to here where it's kind of go to college and then kind of see what happens. People there weren't worried about college or doing anything like that. It was very much, how do I make it into a professional team. I definitely wasn't focused as much on soccer when I moved there. I was just kind of a kid just playing soccer because I liked it. And getting into that atmosphere and growing older as well, it definitely became much more of a realistic and kind of a goal for me. So I went overseas to the Netherlands and had multiple tryouts there. And then coming back into the U.S. for high school, my goal was to go to a top Division I program, to try and basically use that as a platform to get into the MLS. Obviously, things didn't work out at UConn and Sacred Heart, and I had issues with coaches there. So now I'm at UMass Boston playing a much better suited style for my type of play rather than what I was playing at UConn and Sacred Heart. The main difference between UConn and Sacred Heart and then UMass Boston was the style of play. They very much focused on kind of athleticism and just kind of getting top international recruits and kind of disregarding other student athletes. Coming to UMass Boston, it's very much soccer oriented and kind of a thought process behind it, and not just going out and trying to compete. It's how should we do things, why should we do the things we're doing, and kind of keeping the ball on the ground, really passing the ball around, which is something that really suits me. So making that transition and knowing Jake and some of the former assistant coaches, it was always in the back of my mind that I could kind of go to UMass Boston if that was the best fit, but I wanted to kind of experiment and see how I could do at Division I level before I made that decision. These first 5 games for UMass Boston have been pretty much what I've been looking for my entire college career so far. Um, I just think it's been really, really, really good. Even though I didn't really enjoy my time at UConn or Sacred Heart, I definitely learned valuable experiences and learned how to really compete, and I think I've brought that level of intensity to UMass Boston and training sessions and games. But ultimately, I think UMass Boston was the place for me, and frankly should have went here 2 or 3 years ago.